Today, we bring you a special episode on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, live from Beijing. I'm Wang Guan. A month and several rounds of talks on, still no sign of a ceasefire. Ukraine reels under missile attacks and shelling. Over 3 million have become refugees in other countries, according to UN Refugee Agency, and 6 million more are displaced inside Ukraine. Altogether, that means over 10 million people, or a quarter of Ukraine's population, have fled. Poland has the most number of refugees, while other European countries are also providing them with help that they need, like Romania, Hungary, Moldova, and Slovakia. The refugee exodus from Ukraine has exceeded the previous waves Europe witnessed since World War II, both in scale and in speed. This is unprecedented. Also unprecedented, according to some observers, is the welcome given by the European Union and also by many other countries. Under a temporary protection program, Ukrainians can enter neighboring EU countries and immediately get residency rights, jobs, state health care, and education. However, while immigrants help host countries grow in the long run, at this point, the economic pressures are growing. A new analysis from the Center for Global Development in Washington points out that it could cost host countries some $30 billion in the first year alone to accommodate and integrate these refugees, and this provided that the number is below 4 million. Can they bear this cost alone? For example, the mayor of Polish capital Warsaw is calling for donations, saying, "Our city remains the main destination for Ukrainian refugees. Situation is getting more and more difficult every day." The EU has announced a $550 million package to help these refugees, as well as the host nations. The World Bank, on the other hand, could mobilize an estimated $600 million, but there is still a huge shortfall, and long-term systemic support remains uncertain. Poland's foreign minister says the country awaits funding from the European Union to help Ukrainian refugees. Listen.
The costs will be growing. And that is why Poland is waiting very impatiently for the funds for recovery fund in the European Union and for promised help from European Union, United States and others. Because not everything could be based on our own structure and the pockets of our people. The biggest impact is that they are not coming to the biggest cities only, where usually immigrants are coming at every situation. They are in small cities in eastern Poland, where people didn't see multicultural society since the end of the Second World War. And that's a big impact because almost every Polish person now talks about Ukrainian.
Now, in the middle of the crisis, the blame game continues. The U.S. and some others in the West have accused China of supporting Russia. But China says it has stayed neutral. Since the start of the Ukraine-Russia conflict, China has been calling for a peaceful resolution through negotiation. Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi said the wider the disagreement, the greater the need to sit down and hold negotiations. He also proposed a 6-point initiative. They include, number 1, humanitarian operations should be neutral and impartial. Number 2, focus should be on displaced persons, provide them with shelter. Number 3, protect civilians, prevent secondary humanitarian disasters. And number 4, make humanitarian aid activities safe and smooth. Number 5, ensure safety of foreign nationals in Ukraine, allowing them safe departures. And finally, support the UN's coordinating role in channeling humanitarian aid. After the proposal, actions followed. So far, China has announced 15 million yuan or $2.35 million of humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. The first 5 million yuan of aid supplies was provided by the Red Cross Society of China earlier this month. While the conflict is between Russia and Ukraine, its fallout goes way beyond. As UN High Commissioner for Refugees Filippo Grandi tweeted on Sunday, among the responsibilities of those who wage war everywhere in the world is the suffering inflicted on civilians who are forced to flee their homes. Let's also not forget the region where it all started. The people in Donbass had been suffering for years, and now they're in greater plight. According to the UNHCR, 113,000 people fled to Russia from there just between February the 21st and the 23rd. Endless conflict has unleashed horror and tragedy, leaving millions displaced or dead, or has no winners.